Friday the 13th. This Friday the 13th, it is a remake, I guess, reboot of the Friday the 13th series. Now, this came out in the late 2000s, 2009. By this point, we'd already had 9 Friday the 13th movies. We also got a whole bunch of movies like Wrong Turn. We got 2 of those movies by this point. Also, 2 movies in the remake reboot of The Hills Have Eyes. We got 2 of those. We also had Cabin Fever. We had a whole bunch of other like kind of hillbilly slasher in the woods kind of movies. Although technically Hills Have Eyes was the desert. Anyway, you know what I mean. So I guess the studios were like, well, time to bring back Jason. We got to compete with Wrong Turn. Yeah, they brought him back. And they rebooted the series, or they were intending to reboot the series, but this is the last Friday the 13th movie that I'm aware of. Like I said, it's 2009, it's kind of in that style, it's got the same kind of cinematography that you would expect from movies around then. Jump cuts, shaky cam, a lot of, dramatic lighting, jump scares, fairly decent gore in this, which is something that you would expect from a Friday the 13th movie. Jason, your central antagonist, looks pretty cool. They go back and they kind of redo his origin in this, or at least at the very first part of the movie they show Jason's mother getting killed. They kind of reworked the story a little bit because it was pretty jumbled and made little to no sense, and there was no continuity between those old 9 movies. So they cleaned that up a little bit, and they gave him a fairly realistic backstory, I guess, and a realistic setting. In this one, instead of being a supernatural zombie invincible killer, he's just this big old deformed ugly ass hillbilly that lives in a cabin in the woods, or actually in the abandoned Crystal Lake campground. And he's got like this series of traps and a network of tunnels built underneath the camp, and a bunch of douchebag teenagers stumble across Jason and they all get killed off one by one. That tracks. There is some good kills in here. I know, because I'm a psycho. I like those kills, right? Some decent scares, I guess. The acting is kind of hit or miss in here. There's only really one actor in here that I even heard of, and that's Jared Padalecki. You know, the big tall guy from Supernatural. Played Sam on Supernatural. He's okay. He's a very intense actor. Don't really like Supernatural that much. It's okay. My kids really like it. I don't know, Jared Padalecki is fine in here. He plays a guy that's searching for his lost sister, who has actually been abducted by Jason and not killed, surprisingly. Then there's a whole bunch of other, well, not teenagers, but early 20s, like I said, douchebags hanging out at a cabin in the woods. They're the kind of characters that it's like, you want to see these people get hacked up with a machete or whatever, because they're just assholes. Like the Wrong Turn movies and sort of like Cabin Fever. Yeah, so all the other actors, you're not going to know any of them really. Probably done like TV roles and stuff like that, but I don't want to go through all their biographies, and I don't care. Overall, I mean, I guess, like I said, it has a few scares. Not too many jump scares, cheesy fake outs and that kind of stuff. Decent, memorable kills. It's all fairly well lit and well shot. I mean, the pacing of it is pretty much like every other horror movie around that time. It moves along fairly well. There's a decent resolution with a few twists in it. And of course, spoiler alert, You thought you killed Jason at the end, but he comes back in the final frame of the movie. Yeah, I didn't see that coming. I don't know. It's better than I expected, to be honest with you. I guess it wasn't as goofy and as over the top as a lot of Friday the 13th movies can get. But overall, I mean, I guess I was kind of okay with this movie. I got some entertainment out of it. It's definitely flawed. I mean, not in a terrible way. It didn't, like, piss me off or anything like that. I'm not that big of a Jason Voorhees fan or Friday the 13th fan where I'm going to get upset that they changed stuff. If anything, I think they did it justice and they updated the story. But overall, I think I'm going to give this movie, Friday the 13th, 2009, I'm going to give it a B-. Like I said, a little higher, a little better than I thought it was going to be. Would I go back and watch it? Maybe. I have to go back and watch a whole bunch of other Friday the 13th movies first. And this one, in terms of like standout memorable stuff, doesn't have as much as even Jason Takes Manhattan, which was probably the worst one. Doesn't have Crispin Glover or Corey Feldman. Yeah, so despite what it lacks, this movie still gets a B-. So we're deep into the October Horror Fest right now, and I'm trying to keep things moving along here. I gotta get my shit together. And until such time, have a good one, everybody.